Not too far now. Tell me what you see.
Busted. Here comes the catch.
Final warning. Now's your chance.
Time to testify.
Farewell. Go. You're free now.
Gotcha. Game's up. Time's over.
You had your chance.
Ready.
With Ineffa's release incoming, I just wanted to do a quick video discussing some characters that I'm looking forward to at least trying out with her. Because one of the big things that Ineffa is bringing is of course going to be the new Lunar Charged reaction. Now apparently this Lunar Charged reaction itself doesn't do that much damage, but I wonder if the TCing that I have heard of hasn't taken into account the crazy amounts of crit that some characters can be built with. Because the thing is that Lunar Charged reaction damage works like this. First off, it takes into account everyone who is contributing to the Electro Charge. Somehow more than 2 characters can do that. And then the second thing is that it takes into account both EM and crit, which is not something that Electro Charge itself can do. Then there's also this hierarchy on how the damage is calculated. The strongest character gets all of their Lunar Charge damage taken into account. The next strongest character gets half of their Lunar Charge damage taken into account. Somehow if you can fit in a third character contributing to the Lunar Charge damage, they're gonna get a tiny portion of that damage included. And then finally, this doesn't hit as often as Electro Charge. Electro Charge apparently hits twice as quickly as Lunar Charge will. Hello everyone, welcome back. As far as I know, whilst it might not be worth to build your character exclusively around Lunar Charge damage, at least unless they are a specific Lunar Charge carry, I do have a few characters who can probably incidentally do some pretty strong Lunar Charge damage despite not going all in on that nonsense. Especially if they don't have high EM to begin with, because Ineffa herself does actually have a passive that gives her entire team a pretty decent EM boost. For those who are wondering, if you build Ineffa for 2000 attack, you should be able to give the entire team an instructor set worth of EM. Any more and you may be able to get closer to a Sucrose level amount of EM. Although I'm wondering whether going oops all attack and trying to get that Sucrose level EM boost is worth it. We'll just have to see. Now, let's start off with the first character that I want to try with Ineffa, which is of course Neuvillette, because I get the feeling that Ineffa should be fitting pretty nicely in the Neuvillette team replacing Kazuha. On top of that, I would personally also be leveraging C2 Xilonen, and this will be a team where the Hydro and Electro buffs can at least benefit the entire team, not necessarily the Lunar Charge reaction itself though. Ineffa has a 60 cost burst with a 15-second cooldown, so Xilonen should be able to reduce the ER requirements by a lot, which means I should be able to pop her off for that EM buff on the regular. Now, of course, you already have more than 100% uptime on that passive with her ult without needing to use C2 Xilonen. So with C2 Xilonen, I'm probably going to be seeing 200% uptime. But on top of that, that Rocket Punch ult for some reason has a surprisingly high talent scaling, so maybe that is also a pretty good reason to run C2 Xilonen. We'll just have to see. I get a feeling it's going to be Neuvillette and Furina who are going to be the Lunar Charge damage contributors for the most part, because I have them both built for full DPS with lots and lots of crit. And so having Ineffa being an Electro off-fielder, she will at least be enabling more of that kind of stuff. For Neuvillette, he will have 94.9 and 251.6 crit stats, but I'm also running Sack Jade, so there's also an additional 80 EM on him. For Furina, she's got 97.5, 185.2 crit stats, so that's really good. The EM boost from Ineffa should actually make a huge difference, so we'll just have to see how this team ends up functioning. Then of course there's Sethos, who is going to be on the Ineffa banner. Now as far as I know, he is the strongest in aggravate teams, but I'm wondering if the fact that he's got that huge EM scaling means he's going to be particularly good in Ineffa teams as well, at least as an on-fielder. Now bear in mind, we are allegedly getting a Lunar Charge on-fielder in Flynn's, but I don't know yet because we don't even have leaks on what Flynn's kit actually is yet. Well, concrete ones anyway. Either way though, I currently have Sethos with 435 EM, 73.4, 3 crit stats. There's also an additional 15% crit rate on his charge attacks through his C1, so he does actually have a pretty good amount of crit in there as well. So if it's not Lunar Taser teams that end up being all that satisfying, I want to try Hyperbloom team as well. We'll just have to see whether or not these end up working out as well as I am kind of slightly hoping they will. If not, then obviously Aggravate is still really good, and I do actually recommend that for those of us who are Sethos players out there, or at least Sethos curious players. The one thing that's slightly wasted in these kinds of teams that I'm playing with both of these characters is of course going to be Furina's buff, because unlike let's say a Quick Bloom team where the aggravate damage can take into account the damage percent from Furina, Lunar Charged doesn't care at all. Furina's massive damage percent is still increasing the raw damage of someone like Neuvillette or Sethos, but it's not really going to make the Lunar Charge any stronger. Finally, not really finally, because I do want to look at other characters as well, but one of the other characters that I really want to have a look at with Ineffa is of course going to be the illustrious in the extreme, Her Royal Highness the Queen of Sass, Yae Miko the Wise and Beautiful. For the longest time, there has been this hilarious passive in Miko's kit where the EM that she has will also make her turrets do more damage. So I have of course been using an EM Sand on her, because in my experience, EM Sand, Attack Sand, her turrets basically do the same damage, so that's kind of cool. She currently is running 249 EM, 93 to 11.7 crit stats. With Ineffa's team EM share though that I mentioned a little bit earlier, I am wondering if that basically means that an Attack Sand will be superior no matter what. We'll just have to see. That might of course change things. I do have some attack sands sitting around that I can use on her, so at least we do have that working there. Now of course, I have heavily invested in Yae Miko with 2 Electro off-fielders, the other one being of course Ineffa, and potentially even a Hydro one as well, because I'm right now thinking of Furina, but I'm not entirely against the idea of playing no healer plus Yelan. This might be the time for me to play Ineffa. Ineffa, of course, is an on-field Animo healer who is supposed to also make Electro Charged damage, and I believe Lunar Charged damage do more damage, so there we go. I'm still not entirely convinced that he's all that great, especially at C0, but we'll just have to see. Alternatively, if I end up losing my 50-50 and get Mizuki, there's Mizuki. I am wondering if Ineffa's shield is tanky enough that I could at least also on-field Sucrose instead for even more team EM buffs. I have Sunday Morning Sleeping on Sucrose as well, so her EM and her EM share is going to be a little bit higher than the conventional Sucrose players. Either way, with the high crit that I have on Miko, and well, it seems to me that at least the Lunar Charge damage should be doing possibly the absolute maximum that I can get it up to. We'll just have to see. By the time this video comes out, hopefully it's Ineffa's launch day, so join me tonight on stream, both on YouTube and Twitch, where we will be testing and playing with a lot of Ineffa. I will of course get into the story content of version 5.8 on the weekend, because I suspect some of it's going to come out on Friday night instead. So let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. What teams are you interested in playing with Ineffa? Because this is not going to be the extent of my testing. I think there may be some merit in some overvape shenanigans. We'll just have to see, because break glass in case of emergency, there is of course overvape my weekend that I can play as well. Maybe that might be interesting with a storm cloud above her. We'll just have to see. Alright, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more Genshin Ever action, and until next time, I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Incinerate! Try and stop me! Hear the echoes of the valley!